I'm down at 1 bar here. The estimated range thing says I've got 79 miles left, so who knows. And it's saying I'm doing about 47 miles per gallon. Well, that's how I read it. I'm down to 1 bar here. There's my warning light up there. So I think this can go down to 0 and then it'll go red, I don't know. My estimated range thing is telling me I've got 82 miles left. I just put 21 litres in, so it's almost went up in the bars. And the estimated rangefinder says 327 miles. This is a video about when you're nearly out of fuel and whether you should take a jerry can with you. And I've not really thought about it myself, and I don't know how exactly to tell when you're nearly empty, apart from that. I know a bit more now, but I'm just saying this is a speculative post for myself. And I think you should take a jerry can, and probably you should have 2 jerry cans. One round about 2 litres and one about 5 litres. It depends how big your car is. But the other thing is, if you've got a diesel car, you can't let your tank empty. So never let your tank empty your diesel. This is another guy I saw on YouTube who says, in a petrol tank, you can let your car go empty and it won't do any damage. You just fill it up. Although it might, because you might have sludge at the bottom, you know, and that's going to come up. So people say anyway, I don't know. But a diesel one is something to do with the air or something. It's not good for the diesel. I don't think you can just fill it and go, although you probably will anyway. But yeah, it's not a situation you really want to be in. But that made me wonder, how do you know how much your tank holds, and you know, whether you should take a jerry can as a emergency thing. I think you probably should. And then if you don't use it, you can just pour it in when you get home or whatever, you know. So you're not going to waste the petrol. I'm talking about long journeys and that, or things where you're going to be somewhere where you might not be a lot of petrol stations, or, you know, far away. Or what I found at night, you know, say in the north of Scotland and remote areas, if they're really remote, they might have a self-pay one, so you're probably in a good chance there. But two things that can happen is they can either be run out of fuel, I've had that happen, or someone will shut their self-pay things, credit card or debit card or whatever, or card things at night. I don't know why. I mean, some places like Morrison's, the one in Fort William, I've got there and it said pay at the kiosk when I line up, even though the thing's open. So I can't just pay with a card or whatever. And then another situation, Sainsbury's at night, they put traffic cones over their station. I don't know if it's every night, but I've been in that situation where I'm thinking, yeah, I'll get to the Sainsbury's, but then if the traffic cone's on the way, so then you're really, you know, in trouble if you're low on fuel, you know. But, you know, one thing about small cars anyway is I'm really surprised at how little the tanks can hold. I think this car can only hold about 45 litres or something. I mean, it's really not much at all. I mean, that'll get me, like, at the moment, this range, I've just filled it up and it's telling me, I'm nearly full, and it's telling me the estimated, this is an estimate, so never take this for granted, it's 325 miles. I mean, some electric cars can probably go that, you know. I've got 2 bars left. When I was just down to one there, as I showed you, I said it right. I'd run about, when it first went to 1 bar, I had about 100 miles left, and then when I was down, I don't know, I was down to 80 miles. I'll show you the video. But yeah, just when you're in this situation, what happens? Well, on this one, I think these will all go, and then that'll turn to red. And I don't know how. The estimated rangefinder will probably tell me I've got about 60 miles left or something. Don't quote me on that, because I'm just saying what I've saw in people talking in forums and that, because I don't actually know. And remember, the estimated rangefinder is an estimate. You can't rely on these gauges, in my opinion, at all. I mean, personally, I think we should all switch to electric if you can, you know. But yeah, Probably that'll go to red and it'll mean I've maybe got 60 miles left. I'm just guessing, I'm making this number up. And this is telling me to refill, that'll go yellow. So I don't know if these will be at the same time or if this is two warnings, you know. Maybe my first warning is if that goes down to 0. My second warning is if that goes to red. Then my third might be if that goes to yellow. I don't actually know. This is more a post on YouTube for you to think about it yourself. And then that made me wonder, because the trip I was on, it was just over 300 miles. I was probably around about there when I left, or maybe even a bit more. I did fill up. So if you've got a small car, your tank, you know, it's like you've hardly got any fuel in your tank at all, maybe 45 litres, you know. I've noticed people with big cars, when at the petrol forecourt, you know, they're filling up £160 and all this, but I think mine, if I tried over 45 litres, that's another thing. When you're at the petrol station, when you're filling up, it'll automatically stop. No, the petrol station thing, it'll stop. It'll just click and stop because it knows it's nearly full. So you don't need to worry too much about that, although, when you're filling up. But yeah, that just made me wonder, should we take a jerry can with us? And then, as I was saying, I think maybe you should consider two, not taking them at the same time. If you're going a long trip, maybe get a 5 litre one. For the big cars, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've saw people suggest 20 litre cans, which you can get. I think the smallest you can get is 1 litre, but I think that's maybe a bit too little, I don't know. I would go for 2 litres. And I would say maybe a 2 litre can if you're in some sort of scenario where you think you'll be near a garage, you know. But if you're in a scenario where you're worried, completely worried, you know, long distance, that, then maybe a 5 litre one, you know. That's what I'm thinking at the moment anyway. So as I say, on these sort of cars, look at your estimated range, I think that's. But remember, it's possibly totally unreliable, so that's, I think the EU should step in, you know, and say, you've got to make these things really reliable now. Maybe they can't, I don't know. And then the other thing to look at is obviously your bar. This is the thing that we all look at in the digital age, in the analogue age. I'm looking forward till we're all in electric cars, you know, but yeah, I don't know what happens here if this goes to 0. I think maybe it'll turn red. And I'm thinking I'll have maybe 60 miles left, I don't know. And I don't know when this comes on, it'll turn yellow. We'll have maybe 20 miles or something, I don't know. This is a video to make you ponder and think. Alright, goodbye.